What were they thinking? I mean, what was this? So today, the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer debuted, and I watched it and I knew, and I've done several rants on it already, I think 2 in the past, but this is the first time that we saw the movie in motion, that we actually saw the actors act, we actually got to see what this movie is all about, basically. And the final design of Sonic, basically in my first video, I talked about the teaser trailer. It was just, Sonic shrouded in darkness. People were guessing what he was going to look like. And then they had, a released mock-up image of Sonic. And that wasn't exactly how he looks, but it was pretty close. It wasn't too far removed from what we got. And, oh my god, this just looks absolutely horrible. I mean, and I'm not even exaggerating. You might think, for the purpose of this video, I'm just, going all out, going out on the limb, and just saying, oh, it's terrible, it's horrible, it sucks. But it does, guys. And I'm telling you, this coming from a huge, massive Sonic fan, growing up with the character, playing it since the Genesis days, I mean, it goes without saying that Sonic deserved a good movie. I mean, just so many bad video game movies. You would think that, one of these days we would get a good one. Now, there's definitely been some good video game movies. The first Mortal Kombat movie comes to mind, and the first Mortal Kombat movie, there's a few that are okay. The Super Mario Brothers movie was not what people were looking for, but if you look back on it, and you kind of see the approach that they took, you could find some enjoyment from that. There's enjoyment to be had in the Street Fighter movie, but, for the most part, let's just be perfectly honest. Video games have never translated well to movies, because usually the people doing the movies, they usually are not very familiar with the source material. I really don't understand why that is. Like, how do you work on a movie and, not see the source material? Like, for example, the director of this movie, Jeff Fowler, I don't know why they would not give this type of movie to a more experienced director. Someone who actually, is familiar with making good feature films. Like, I don't understand. They always do this with basically every single video game movie. They always assign it to a new director. Like, they're not just, like I said, they're not grabbed off the street. They have certain credentials, but why does this always have to be like their first movie? You could go on Wikipedia and you could see that this is actually his first, it's actually his second feature film. The first one being Where the Wild Things Are, and that guy's only film credits was animation research and development. Besides that, he really has not had anything else besides some short films, like I mentioned, the one that he won an Academy Award for, which was Gopher Broke, which I think I know what that is, believe it or not. I think you've probably seen it too. It was like just a little feature. I think it was shown before a movie or something like that. But, why is this his first feature film? Why is this his first this is his directorial debut. It makes no sense to me at all why they would give this movie to him as his first movie that he works on as a director. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. It's huge. It's a massive franchise spanning, dozens and dozens of games. I mean, man, if you count all the handhelds and all the different systems and all the games that he's appeared in, I mean, it would reach probably 60, 70 games or something like that. I mean, I don't know if it's around that high, but you know what I'm saying. He's been in a lot of games. So you would understand that Sonic has like sold like tens of millions of games, hundreds of millions of games worldwide. Why would they give the Sonic trademark? Why would they put it in the hands of somebody like this who, it's very, very rare that like a directorial debut is going to be successful. It usually takes these people a few, tries before they get it right. But Paramount Pictures, not a small studio by any means, is putting this in the hands of an amateur. Now, I know, like, I see certain, interviews with him, they try to prop him up like he won an Academy Award for a short film. It's one thing to make a 10, 15-minute film, but you're in charge of huge actors. Jim Carrey is in the movie. And let's talk about Jim Carrey here for a minute as Dr. Robotnik. Man, oh man, is he a great actor? Let's just start off a little bit positive there. And I'm watching him play the role in the trailer, albeit for like, we only got like a 2.5 minute trailer. But, Jim Carrey's definitely got the pizzazz still. He's definitely seemed energized in this role. But this is not Dr. Robotnik. Dr. Robotnik doesn't, he was acting more like he would in like Ace Ventura, but not quite. But you know what I mean? He was acting more like a normal mad scientist, like a caricature of a mad scientist. Not Dr. Robotnik, not Eggman like we know from the games and the cartoons and everything. Why couldn't we get a Robotnik akin to Tony J from the Sonic Sat AM series? Remember back on ABC that, the more serious and dark Sonic cartoon, maybe like a Robotnik more akin to the comic books. That's where they drew inspiration for that show. So I don't get like why it has to be like one big joke. They could have had a lot of jokes, of course. It's Sonic. He's, very sarcastic and a snarky little guy, and that's why I love him so much. But this role, it's just even seeing Jim Carrey as he comes out of that plane or whatever it is, and he's just got like this normal mustache, and then all the way at the end of the trailer they showed the mustache like somehow grows out. I don't know if it's supposed to be if he brushed it out, and it looks a little bit better, but it just looks silly. Like there's just no way that they couldn't have done better. And I need to just ask this, like, I'm looking at Carrey, and I get it's kind of hard to make a human being kind of look like Dr. Robotnik, but forget about that. Sonic looks absolutely terrible, and I understand that, and I'm all for this. I always talk about it. Directors want to put their own spin on stories and characters and everything, but Sonic is such a simple design. Why do you have to mess with them? Like, think about, like, the Ninja Turtles. Like, even the most recent, iteration of Ninja Turtles, like from Out of the Shadows, the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles. I wasn't a huge fan of those designs, but, like, you could kind of see why they might have went in that direction. But I wasn't a big fan of it. But, like, the Turtles I could kind of see because their design is a bit more complex, but Sonic is just a lot more simple to me. So I don't see why they had to jazz it up so much, and it really looks bad. It looks 10 times worse than Michael Bay Turtles. I mean, and I'm not kidding right there. I'm not exaggerating. This looks awful. Like, you have his eyes separated, and then you see like there's these shots, these freeze frames where he's like duh, and you see it in the you see it right there, like you just see that face, and it just looks absolutely terrible, and I don't get it. Why, with $90 million, does it look this bad? Like, where's all that money going to? Now, there's a lot of good displays here, like when the missiles are all surrounding Sonic, and there seems like there's some good special effects when he's doing the spin dash, for example. That looks great. That looks really good, as a matter of fact. But, like, I'm sorry, but I'm looking at Sonic. I'm also listening to how he sounds, and that voice, I'm not feeling it at all. I mean, Ben Schwartz, I mean, that is not a good voice at all. You know, I'm thinking back to when Urkel did Sonic's voice for the Saturday morning cartoon, and that is just so much better to me. I mean, you know, like, why couldn't we get the same voice from the more recent games? You know, I don't get it at all. You know, okay, we saw the success of the Spider-Man cartoon. Like, if they couldn't get it right with a live-action Sonic, then why didn't they just scrap it and just go for, you know, a big budget cartoon like what they did with Enter the Spider-Verse, which I still haven't seen, by the way. But I'm just saying, you saw the success at the box office for that movie. So why couldn't we have, you know, a successful Sonic cartoon? I just couldn't imagine kids not wanting to go see that, adults not wanting to go see that. You know, people would go see that if you promote it huge and everything. But I guess Hollywood doesn't want to do that. And this is what we're left with. And this is just a really terrible looking movie that it really shows, like, the outrage of, I've never seen outrage on that level. Even when the new turtle designs were released, like, it was, you know, not good, but it wasn't, like, horrible. This is horrible, and that's why people raged when they saw that. I did too. I was just, you know, I didn't rage, but I was just really disappointed. But then again, not surprised, because we've seen things like this so many times throughout the history of video game movies. And when it comes to, you know, big franchises, you know, these directors and movie studios making all these horrible decisions, the thousands of reboots that have been made, you know, like, even though the reboots are never as good as the originals. So we're pretty used to this type of stuff. It's very familiar territory. That's why I don't rage. I don't get upset like that. But I'm just saying that this is just so bad. I didn't even think that it would be this bad as it is. There's really no excuse when you have this big of a budget, this big of a movie studio, but then you just see the recipe. How could you put this amateur director and he's going to have a movie with Jim Carrey in it? What an honor for him, but what a dishonor for everyone else that has to sit through this. You all know it's not going to be good. There's going to be a few scenes that are probably good. There was some nice little scenes in the trailer. Like I said, I mentioned the missiles and, you know, some of the special effects. But, you know, overall, like, you just know it's going to be a stinker. It's like, there's, you know, be positive, Brett. Like, I'm sick of hearing that already. We all know how this goes. A few flashy things here and there. Oh, this part's neat, you know, but the rest of it's going to be garbage. And why does it have to be this way? The fans were saying from the offset that it did not look good. They did not like the way how Sonic looked, and it wasn't just, you know, a vocal minority. It was a lot of people. Everyone said it was bad, to the point that the movie studio, you know, actually they ended up apologizing, you know, in like a troll-like way. You know, remember they said, "Can a guy work out?" And they said, "See you next year." They knew that people really hated the way how the teaser looked. And I think they probably cleaned up the design a little bit, because you could tell that the silhouette and even, you know, the concept art that was going to be the final design, they changed things around. It definitely does not look the same as we have been seeing in the weeks and the months leading up to this this now probably very close to being finished movie. I've never seen a movie like this, though, where there was, like, you know, so much buzz around it, and they were being so secretive. And it was obvious that it was because they probably changed the design so many times. But through all those different changes, Did they ever think, hey, let's make him look like he does in the games? No, I'll guarantee you that not once that came out of anybody's mouth. And I just don't understand why. When there's that much money involved, it's a huge movie studio. Like, how do they get it this wrong? I just need to know. How do they get it this wrong when there's so many people involved? Like, did they just put their hands over their ears and go la la la? They just don't want to hear any outward input. They just block it. We're just gonna do things the way we want. Even like, don't they see all the other video game movies and all the other past failures? I mean, this really is like insanity. Like, they don't observe everyone else's big failures. Like, they don't see like Assassin's Creed, just how terrible these movies, do. Like, they see that they rake in a fair amount of cash, but like, don't any of these directors or movie studios, doesn't anyone have any integrity or pride in their work? Whatever happened to like making a good movie? Like, whatever happened to the Martin Scorsese approach, where you can make a lot of money off your movie, or Steven Spielberg, make a lot of money, but also put forth a good quality motion picture that could be looked back on and you could be praised for it. Don't they want the praise? Don't they want the awards? Don't they want the critical acclaim and the fans loving them? Wouldn't that, fill them with positivity, and love for filmmaking? No, instead, let's make a quick cash grab. Let everyone hate us. We're going to waste everyone's time with this terrible movie. And, obviously Jeff Fowler's probably going to be like all the other video game movie directors. They're not going to get far, in their directorial career, and it's just such a waste. I mean, would you give this opportunity if you were selected as a director for this type of movie? Probably not. But all I'm saying is, what were they thinking with this decision? How can Paramount approve this? Like, how can they say this is good? Like, they did a good job. Like, if I was like an exec for Paramount, I'd be like, you need to go back and redo this. This looks like shit. But apparently not. I mean, it's just like, yeah, okay, this will make us money. Good enough. They look at a picture of Sonic. They look at movie Sonic. They're like, he's blue. Just, I mean, what do you say, really? Just what do you say? Anyway, guys, what did you think of the trailer? I'm kind of guessing that I'm probably not going to see a lot of people commenting positively. I think a lot of people probably feel the same way. I didn't see a lot of positive comments. Probably the most positive comment I saw, or comments, is Jim Carrey being in the movie. I will probably toy with the idea of seeing it just for the Jim Carrey performance. It kind of depends. I don't know how I'm feeling by the time that this movie releases in November. So, guys, subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.